Hey, hello everyone! Welcome back for another video. Today we are going on a journey to the very origins of our beloved football, to the birthplace as well as the very first football league. Join me in this journey through history around the ball. Today's theme, the English Premier League. The Premier League, also known in England as the Premiership, is the top tier of the English Football League system. It began to be played in 1992-93 season. For historical reasons, Welsh clubs may also participate in the Premiership if they wish to do so, provided that they have competed continuously in the English football system since at least June 30 of 1992. Established as the Football League in 1888 by the Football Association, the English Premier League became the first football league in the world. The Football Association established the starting point with the drafting of the first 13 guidelines for both the practice and the correct development of association football. Under these rules, the first official competition in history was founded, the Football Association Challenge Cup, still in force today, and which was the benchmark tournament worldwide. It lasted until 1880, when professionalism in football was accepted and caused large amateur clubs to lose prominence and be relegated, leading 8 years later to what was the first English professional league competition, the Football League. It had great growth in the British Isles and soon began to expand to the other parts of Europe, adopting the same rules and guidelines in these areas. It was the reference football in which all the emerging clubs were set and which in turn formed their own competitions and leagues. The English League, much more long-lived and established, began to forge great football clubs, increasing its competitiveness, which made necessary to restructure the championship in order to accommodate more clubs. It was established after merging with the Football Alliance, a league formed in 1889 between clubs in Central and Northwest England, to form the first and second divisions, and thus endure as the top tier of a system of league that expanded over the next 100 years. A total of 23 different clubs were champions, with Liverpool being the one with the most success with 18 titles, followed by Arsenal with 10 and Everton with 9. But with the passing of time, things began to change. Yes, England had been the benchmark in its origins, but a couple of different factors changed the course that led to a defection of England's top teams from the first division. In the late 1980s, British football was at a critical juncture. Stadiums were in poor conditions, hooligans were rioting at matches and beginning to increase in numbers, and Football Association teams were unable to play in European competitions after the Heysel tragedy in 1985 when 39 fans were killed. The once benchmark First Division was falling short of leagues such as Italy's Serie A or Spain's Primera División in terms of attendances and revenue, while a considerable number of English players had emigrated to other countries. In need of a further large-scale restructuration, the trend of decline began to gradually reverse after England's semi-final finish in 1990's World Cup. UEFA, European football's governing body, lifted the ban on English teams playing in European competitions, and the following year Manchester United won the Champions Club Cup, popularly known as the European Cup Winners' Cup. The issue of television revenue became an issue of interest. The Football Association had only received £6.3 million for a 2-year deal in 1986. But after that deal ended in 1988, the price rose to £44 million for a 4-year period. The 1988 negotiations were the first sign of division among the clubs. 10 of them threatened to leave the league and form a Super League, although in the end they were persuaded not to pursue their intentions. As stadiums improved and match attendances and revenue increased, the country's top teams again considered leaving the Football League to capitalize on the growing influence of the money being generated by sporting activities. At the end of the 1990-91 season, some of the more influential clubs proposed to establish a new league which will generate much more revenue. The agreement between the eventual founding members was signed on July 17, 1991, and set out the basic principles for creating the Football Association Premier League. The defection will have commercial independence from the English Football Association and the Football League, giving the Premier League the license to negotiate its own broadcasting and sponsorship deals. The excuse given at the time was that the additional revenue will allow English clubs to compete with other European teams. The fact that the competition in the mid-2000s was dominated by the clubs that made the so-called Big Four, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool and Manchester United, added a new but relative interest. For although the rivalry between the big clubs was exalted, the competitiveness with the rest of the league was distanced. During this decade, and especially between 2002 and 2009, these teams occupied the fourth top position in the rankings, granting them access to the UEFA Champions League, which brought them even greater benefits in the future. In May 2008, Kevin Keegan, then manager of Newcastle, claimed that this dominance could threaten the league at the risk of becoming one of the most boring but biggest of the world. The years following 2009 marked a change in the structure of the Big Four, with Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester City entering the top four on a regular basis, enlarging the Big Four into the Big Six. In the 2009-2010 season, Tottenham finished fourth and became the first team to break into the top four since Everton 5 years earlier. Criticism of the gap between the elite group of super clubs and the majority of the Premier League continued to exist, however, due to their increasing ability to spend more than the other Premier League clubs. The records worsened as the situation by giving them a greater ability to invest in transfers compared to the rest, allowing them to build more competitive squads. At the same time, there was an influx of large foreign investors, who by buying up the shares of different clubs, brought in new sums of money that threatened all competitiveness. As a result, UEFA, foreseeing an increasingly integrated situation in English football, but also spreading to the rest of Europe, introduced the Financial Fair Play Regulations, an economic measure of financial restrictions to be compiled by all member clubs to prevent those with the greatest purchasing power for making their already manifest superiority insurmountable. With only 4 UEFA Champions League qualification places available in the league, there began to be greater competitions for qualification, yet from a reduced base of 6 clubs. Over the 5 seasons following the 2011-2012 campaign, Manchester United and Liverpool found themselves outside the top 4 3 times, while Chelsea finished 10th in the 2015-2016 season. Arsenal finished 5th in the 2016-2017, ending their record run of 20 consecutive top 4 results. Titles continued to fall on the big team's side. This until the miracle of Leicester, against all odds, in the 2015-2016 season. Unprecedented in the division, having been promoted just 2 years earlier and pulling a miraculous salvation at the end of the 2014-2015 season, they were not expected to be crowned champions. Nowadays, the Premier League is considered to be the most competitive in the world, and probably the most wealthy. Although 49 different teams have played in the Premier League throughout its history, only 7 clubs have been so far able to win the tournament. Manchester United 13 times, Chelsea 5 times, Manchester City 4 times, Arsenal 3 times, and Blackburn Rovers, Leicester and Liverpool once. Okay guys, we are reaching the end of another video. As always, thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel for every single piece of content update. As always, has been a real pleasure, and I would love to read you in the comment sections which league you want to learn more about in the future. This was History Around the Ball, guys. See you next time!